All right, so I just saw Titans on the DC streaming service, and first impressions, not that bad. I was expecting some, a CW level quality show, but I got something a lot better. This show is definitely for mature audiences. They show a lot of blood. There's a scene in this show where a lady gets shot in the back of her head, and you see the bullet come out of the front of her head, and you see the hole in her head and everything. Like, they hold nothing back in this show. This is a pure adult show. It's a 50-minute show with no commercials, so obviously they tell a lot of story in this show. And it was really good overall. Like, if you're on the fence about watching this show, I would just go ahead and watch it. I mean, the first episode's pretty solid. The next episode comes out in, I think, 4 days here. Which is kind of annoying that they're releasing it episode by episode. I wanted them to do it like Netflix and release the whole season at the same time. I wanted that to happen, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the show is really good. Like, I really enjoyed the show. But in order to talk about it more, I'm probably going to have to talk about spoilers. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, get the fuck out of here. But yeah, let's talk about the show. The show really centers around Raven, at least this first episode. And I think she's probably the weakest part about the show. Just the actress playing her. I don't think Raven is that good. I mean, I was a little annoyed by her character. But she's, like, possessed by Satan and everything. And her mother's not really her mother. It's just a caretaker for her. And she gets kidnapped by this dude. And it turns out the dude is working for some kind of cult that wants to destroy Raven because she is a carrier for the Dark Lord, right? So really this cult is, like, good. They're a good cult. They want to kill the one person that could bring Satan to Earth, right? But you really don't find that till the end of the show. But anyway, beyond that, the show started with the Graysons, Flying Graysons scene of the parents dying, which is pretty amazing that we're going to have Dick Grayson with the circus, background and everything, and we're in modern day. Like, who goes to a circus anymore? It doesn't seem like, his backstory makes sense in modern day, but I don't care. Dick Grayson's awesome. I love his backstory anyway. And I love that they stayed completely true to it. I felt like it was very artful. The only problem, again, was that Raven was in the scene and her acting. When she saw them fall and she starts screaming, like, oh, God. That was like the most cringy part of the show is probably Raven screaming. But, other than that, I like everything about the show. I mean, yeah, we're talking about the one negative with Raven, but she is early on in the show, and she's like the center point of this episode. And she's the weakest part of the show to me, for sure. But Robin, on the other hand, is fucking awesome. I love this actor. He pulls off Dick Grayson so well. I cannot wait for him to get into the Nightwing suit. He starts off the show in the Robin suit. He beats the fuck out of these thugs. And it's hysterical. When he first drops down into the alley, the thugs are like, where's Batman? Like, they see Robin's right in front of them. And they just keep looking for Batman. And they're not taking Robin seriously. And then Robin wrecks them. And yeah, I think he kills a couple. He definitely brutalizes them, and it's pretty awesome. Like, this is kind of the action I've always wanted to see with Robin. It's the kind of action you see in the comic books. Like, when you see Damian Wayne, going at it in the comics, he beats the fuck out of people. Like he's about to kill them and stuff. So it feels like this Dick Grayson is being inspired by that comics version of Damian Wayne, right? Because Dick Grayson in the comics isn't really, at least to like my knowledge, it doesn't seem like he brutalizes people like this much. But it might have something to do with he still hates Batman and stuff. And the show starts off in Detroit, and Dick Grayson transferred to Detroit from Gotham. He wanted to get away from Batman and Gotham, so he went to Detroit. And somehow Detroit is better than Gotham. Pretty crazy, but it works for the show, for sure. Another thing I was really impressed by with the show was the cinematography and just the way it looks like a professional show. Like, it looks like FX quality show. You could really tell they put some money into the show, and that's always appreciated. I love that. And it definitely makes it easier to watch the show for the whole season, right? So, that's a big plus for me. So, Robin is amazing in this show. Raven is, her actress is just not that good. I'm not digging Raven right now. Maybe she'll grow on me, but I'm not digging it right now. but Robin is killer. He's like the best Robin I've ever seen on screen ever. And then we get to Starfire, which is probably one of the most confusing storylines they have in this show because it starts off in Austria and she's speaking German. And, it doesn't really make sense. I think it would have made more sense if Starfire was in Detroit, to start the show. Because she does look like she's from Detroit. I mean, not just because she's black, but, she seems like a Detroit prostitute. But no, she's just a prostitute in Austria. I mean, she does look like a prostitute. There's no way to get around that. But, she pulls it off. She is hot as fuck. And I guess for the story they were trying to tell, it makes sense, overall. Because Starfire has amnesia in this episode, which, is always a cop-out, It's not really like... I usually don't like when shows and movies do the amnesia storyline thing. The character can't remember who they are and stuff. I don't really like that stuff. But hopefully Starfire, that doesn't last long and we can just get into her character a little bit. Because she's clearly an alien. She has superpowers. She doesn't know how she got them. There's no way that she's a human. That's for sure. There's no way. But Starfire does have a great scene in this show where she is in a room with some mob boss or whatever and his goons, and he shoots her, and the bullet disintegrates as it's about to hit her, and she absorbs the energy of the bullet, and she blasts it back tenfold into a huge fireball that engulfs the whole room. It's a pretty epic scene. The special effects were very nicely done. For a TV show that's on a streaming service, these special effects were spot on. They were better than any CW show, so I'm very happy by these special effects so far. But you're really not much to talk about with Starfire. We don't really get a good idea of who her character is because she has amnesia. But, the actress they got is pretty hot. So, that's all we can go off right now, The actress is hot. Her powers look cool. The special effects look good. Let's see where it goes, And then they end the show with a small tease of Beast Boy. It's probably 2 minutes long. He robs a Sears or some store for a video game. He morphs into a tiger and he steals a video game from a store because Beast Boy's a fucking kid. It looks like he's still in high school or something. So it makes sense for his character to rob the store for a video game, right? It's something like I would do if I had his powers, right? But that's all we see of Beast Boy, really. We see him transform into a human. Special effects look good. I'm telling you, they look good enough, for this type of show. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking for, and it looks visually interesting enough to keep me engaged. So that's the thing that got me excited the most about the show. I like the way it looks. Robin was a huge highlight for me. Robin's probably the best part of the show. Starfire was probably the second best part, and Raven was probably the weakest part of the episode. And we really didn't get to see Beast Boy enough to get a gauge on what his character's like. But all the special effects were nicely done. The dialogue was passable. And funny enough, it was made by the same people that made the CW shows. Greg Berlanti's all over the credits on the show. So there is that CW tie, and they have no problem making the show dark. So, they want to lighten up the DC movies, but they have no problem having a TV show this dark, right? So it's a little annoying. Jeff Johns, his name is all over the credits too, so he had a lot of say in this show. So it makes you wonder, was Jeff Johns really the one to blame on Justice League? Was he the one that wanted to lighten it up? Because, Titans looks like he would have more control over that, right? And Titans came out like a really dark adult show, right? So, what was Jeff Johns doing? Was he I don't want the movies to be dark, but the TV shows, those could be dark. Was that really what Jeff Johns was thinking? Or is there somebody else to blame for why the movies came out the way they did? I don't know. All I know is this is the type of DC show that I want. Titans is the type of DC show I want to watch. It's the one I've been waiting to see. And with the HBO Watchmen TV show that's coming out, we're getting a lot more adult DC shows. So it's definitely something to look forward to. And let me know what you thought about the episode down below. Did you like Titans? I thought it was a solid episode. I'm excited to see the next one. Hopefully it can keep my attention for the whole season, which is kind of hard to do for me. I usually fizzle out of shows when they get boring. So let's hope this doesn't get boring. And yeah, that's it for now. Let me know what you thought about the episode, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.